This is Jarrod Horak, and this is my latest Kentucky Derby 2024 Contenders video. And in this video, I'm going to go back and look at the San Vicente Stakes last week, a race won by Muth for trainer Bob Baffert. So I'll look back at that one. That was not a Kentucky Derby points race, but it could have Kentucky Derby implications. And then I'll also look at some of my other top Kentucky Derby contenders. Now, if you're interested in reading my latest Kentucky Derby report, head on over to todaysracingdigest.com. When you get to their homepage at the top near the left, you're going to see a Kentucky Derby tab. Click on that tab. That will take you over to the Digest Derby page, and there you will be able to read all of my Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks 2024 reports. I have my videos there, and I have other handicapping articles as well for the points races. So you can check all of that stuff out at todaysracingdigest.com on their Kentucky Derby page. And my latest Kentucky Derby 2024 update I posted on January 10th. And in that article, I recapped the points races. The Smarty Jones Stakes on January 1st at Oaklawn. Catching Freedom for trainer Brad Cox was the winner there, and he was the bet down favorite, and he did not disappoint. And then the Jerome Stakes on January 6th at Aqueduct is the other points race I recapped in that article. And drum roll, please, my top choice and a lot of people's top choice dominated that race as expected. You can read my recaps there for the Smarty Jones and the Jerome. Some other stuff that I have in my Kentucky Derby report. I have the upcoming points races, and there are two more points races for January 2024. We have the Lecomte Stakes on January 20th at Fairgrounds, and then the Southwest Stakes January 27th at Oaklawn. Both of those races, 20 points for the winner, 10 for second, 6 for third, 4 for finishing fourth, and then you get a couple points for finishing fifth. And then the Kentucky Derby points leaders. Now through January 10th, Fierceness is the points leader with 30 points. Locked for trainer Todd Pletcher with 19 points. Timberlake for trainer Brad Cox has 16 points. And then you have two horses, Liberal Arts and Drum Roll Please. They have 13 points apiece. So those are your top 5 points race leaders. And you can see the other points race leaders in my article. And then I have my exceptional 11 Kentucky Derby 2024 contenders. And I updated that on January 10th. And for the second week in a row, Fierceness is my top-ranked Kentucky Derby contender for trainer Todd Pletcher. And he's one that won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He's going to be your 2-year-old champion. It was a good effort. And he's been working this year. And as of my report on the 10th, he had a workout on January 4th, 5 furlongs in 1 minute and 34. So that was a decent effort. And then he's one that could end up running in the Grade 3 Holy Bull Stakes at Gulfstream on February 3rd. So he could run in the Holy Bull and then skip the Fountain of Youth and then run in the Florida Derby. We'll have to see if they stick to that schedule. Now, some other contenders, horses that were ranked on my Derby list. Number 5 is Muth on my list, and he won that San Vicente Stakes last week as my top choice. And I did a video there. This is a $2 million son of Good Magic, and the San Vicente was his second graded win. The San Vicente was a grade 2 at 7 furlongs, and he was cutting back in distance. Now, last year on the road to the Derby in the grade 1 American Pharoah Stakes, I did that video, and I made Muth my top choice, and he won that grade 1 American Pharoah at 1 mile and a 16th at Santa Anita Park. He dominated that one. Then I made him my top choice again in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He was no match for Fierceness, but he was able to hold on and finish second there in a decent effort. And then they cut him back in his first start this year in that 7 furlong San Vicente, and he stalked the pace, and he kicked away in the stretch, and he won easily. That was a nice effort, and now he's probably ready to get back around 2 turns for his next start. Now, he's trained by Bob Baffert. Now, for the 3rd year in a row, Bob Baffert horses are ineligible to run in the Kentucky Derby, and the last couple years, he's been putting a lot of his top horses in the Tim Yak Teen Barn, horses that were pointing to the Derby, and we'll have to see if they do that with Muth. Talented horse, $2 million purchase, 2-time graded winner. He's promising still. He probably still has some upside. Now, another horse on my list that also ran in the San Vicente Stakes, Pilot Commander, currently ranked 9th on my Derby list, and this is a son of Justify. And that San Vicente Stakes was only his second career start, so I thought that was a decent effort. In his career debut, he was all over the pace, and he won by 2 1/4 lengths. That was in a sprint race, and he defeated in that race, he defeated Imagination, his stablemate, and Imagination did come back and break his maiden in a 1 mile race at Santa Anita Park on January 1st. And then Pilot Commander in his second career start, he ran a decent race, finishing second and fighting to hold second behind Muth in that San Vicente. Um, that was a good effort, but not quite good enough to match his stablemate. I think he looks like one that should handle a route of ground. So now he's had 2 sprint races under his belt, and he got that stakes experience in that San Vicente. So I would expect Pilot Commander in his next start to move forward around 2 turns. We'll just have to see where he ends up going. Now, some horses that did not make my exceptional 11 list, but they're knocking on the door, and they could be Derby contenders. We have Dornoch knocking on the door. Now, Dornoch's one that he won the Remsen Stakes at Aqueduct. That was a speed favoring track, and he came again and he beat Sierra Leone. That was a nice effort there. And Dornoch is running well. He's done well around 2 turns. He's got that good early pressing speed, and one to watch during his 3-year-old campaign. Now, Coach Prime is another one. This one for trainer Bob Baffert. Now, he was a disappointing 3rd in the Los Al Futurity last time out, but I still think he has some upside. In his next 2-turn start, I would expect Coach Prime to run a better race. Some others, Resilience is a recent maiden winner for trainer Bill Mott. He broke his maiden, I think it was January 1st at Gulfstream Park, and he earned an okay speed rating. So Resilience seems to be getting better, and he's one to watch, possibly, if he can jump onto the Derby trail and make some noise. We'll have to see that. I mentioned Imagination for Bob Baffert, breaking his maiden at Santa Anita Park recently around 2 turns. He'll probably show up in a points race soon. Otello is the final one that I'll mention, and he's one that I picked on top in the Mucho Macho Man Stakes, and he won that race nicely. Now, he's won both of his starts. They were both 1-turn miles, and he had traffic trouble, and there wasn't a lot of pace in either of his races, but Otello for trainer Christophe Clement was able to win both of those races. So he hasn't really run fast yet, but he's overcome some trouble, and he's won back-to-back races, and we'll see if he'll continue to get better as they stretch him out around 2 turns. Maybe if he can get a little bit more pace help and a little bit of a better trip, maybe he'll continue his winning ways. So he's done nothing wrong. He's shown some ability, some raw talent. He's just going to have to run faster and get some more experience and get some 2-turn races under his belt. So I would expect that Otello is going to jump into a Kentucky Derby points race in his next start. That Mucho Macho Man was not a Derby points race. So that's my look at some of the horses that could make an impact on the Derby trail in the coming weeks and months. And again, go over to todaysracingdigest.com to check out my latest Kentucky Derby article and all of my Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks reports on the Today's Racing Digest Kentucky Derby page. And that will wrap up this video. And I'll be doing, anytime they run a Kentucky Derby or Kentucky Oaks points race, I'll be covering that in video format on my YouTube channel and have all of my articles at the Digest on their Derby page. So lots of stuff to look forward to as we get as we move down the road to the Derby here. We're starting to get a little more serious. The points races were worth 10 points to the winner for the most part so far, and now we're jumping up to the 20 points races now, starting on January 20th at the fairgrounds. And we could see in that race at the fairgrounds a couple horses that are on my Derby list. Nash could end up in that Lecomte Stakes. He's worked out recently. And then Track Phantom, your Gun Runner Stakes winner for trainer Steve Asmussen. He's on my Derby list. He's been on that list as well. And he could have a rematch with Nash in that Lecomte Stakes. We'll have to see about that one. But I will be covering that race on my YouTube channel. So stay tuned to that. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.